Pride wave.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Mechs on Deck. Shout outs to Alex Odos for the raid. Today, we have a friend of the channel. I believe this is his third or fourth time joining us here on Mechs on Deck. I think
fourth, but because you've been on outside of the 24, but you've been on both 24s.
Oh god, it must be like fifth or sixth then.
Yeah,
because you've had me on. I don't know. It's
been a couple times.
Just a few.
But Apiary Keyboards, if you're not familiar with her, twitch.tv/Apiary Keyboards, does amazing builds, great conversations. Overall good streamer. How have you been? What have you been up to?
Crying. I'm great. I've been trying to, continue to stream and run my business and run a key set. That's live right now, and just live. Fine. It's great. It's going great.
It's great. It's great.
I'm fine.
Aloha, dude. Aloha ukulele. Guys, follow Ukulele Dad, like for real. Hit him with that. I'm good. It's been like a normal week at work, which has been ridiculously needed because work has been fun. And just it's like the joke when people go, "How's it going?" I go, "It's going."
Mm-hmm.
that's my life. I'm like, it's going. Sun's coming up whether I like it or not. What about you, Osiris? You've had a fun week.
Yeah, it's been a good week. It's been a little bit busy, but it's been good. So making some progress on my job situation, which is nice. So hoping to have some good news here soon, but we'll see. I don't want to spoil it. But no, it's been good. It's been good. Other than that, I've just been kind of chilling, hanging out. A lot better than last week, because last week was terrible. My computer decided it wanted to not work anymore. I almost got hacked, and then I had to reinstall Windows, and then Windows was like, hey, you know what? I know you just downloaded literally everything, but we're going to go ahead and stop working again. And then I had to do it all over again. So, hey.
What a nightmare, dude.
It was like 3 days.
It was a fun, and of course it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
So it was right in the well. So I get the message from Osiris, and he's like, "Dude, something's wrong with my computer." I'm like, "All right, well, our guest canceled, so I guess we can move tonight's stream to tomorrow." Like, I'll be ready though and we'll get someone like on standby for tomorrow's stream, because like I feel like what we do would be terrible if it was just one person being like, "I'm going to talk to you about my opinions."
Yeah.
There's not a lot of conversation there.
I couldn't imagine streaming by myself.
Like, I have infinite respect. So during the top clack, whenever they were going from Huey to Jay, there was like a month there where Brian literally just streamed by himself, and I was like, and then he did it like once or twice, but then he brought in some other guest hosts, and I was like, man, I do not envy you. I would not be able to do this, just sitting there talking and like having, because it's like the best part is when you have differing opinions. Even if Osiris and I agree on things, sometimes it's best to just disagree on things, because fuck it, makes for good conversation. I just like there are a lot of things that like, yeah, I don't know if DDD Klein is in chat, but shout out to him because he heard my like cursing rampage right before we went live. Because I think I've talked about this before. I know Cyrus knows this. I fucking hate starting streams. For whatever reason, clicking to the other, clicking to like the live screen and being like, "What's up, everybody?" I'm like, for whatever reason, I just, it drives me insane. And so I'm like, God, fucking God, just fuck. It's like, all right, let's get this over with. I was like pumping myself up. DD's just looking at me like, this guy's fucking crazy.
You gotta embrace your inner like cringe YouTuber, you know?
See, I think that's why. That's what,
everybody. It's
Exactly.
the boy Chewy coming out with you with another tech review.
yeah, exactly. Like,
Be sure to like and subscribe, ring that bell, be part of our notification squad.
Right there. You can go to this video and then this video and then this video and just right there.
No, thank you.
Yeah, not a fan. Anyway, guys, if you don't know Apiary, yeah, Didi did like kind of offered. He's like, "Do you want me to start?" But guys, if you don't know who Apiary is, you've probably been living under a rock. Apiary is one of the top keyboard streamers in this hobby. She is an amazing build streamer. She is an amazing personality. She has a subpar Animal Crossing island, and yeah, I went there.
It's true. I do. You know what? I haven't touched that game in like I'm gonna like go back to my island and there's just gonna be cockroaches everywhere. I'm gonna have lost like 4 villagers. Oh man.
A kid. She also hates me. She tells me "fuck Dave" like every other day. So
Please don't fuck Dave.
But welcome back to the stream. And yes, subpar opinions on Chick-fil-A. But welcome back to the stream. You've got your McFlurry or boba. I can't really tell.
It's just a water cup.
It's just a water cup.
It's just a bomb ass water cup. I was watching her stream the other day, and someone was like, "Oh, she's got boba," and she showed off the cup, and it's pretty cool looking.
Definitely,
I do.
It gives off the boba vibe. Mm-hmm. So yeah, guys, this is Apiary. Welcome. Give her a follow! ! Guest, and go give her a follow if you are not already following her.
I feel so weird just sitting here while you guys praise me. In all honesty,
that's why I had to bring you down a notch.
But I'm here.
bring you up, bring you right back down.
I appreciate it.
So, and also, if you have not, we've been talking about it all month, but GMK Noir is running right now on Project Keyboards. Be sure to go pick it up. Looks like it's going to be another standard classic set. Who doesn't like the monochromatic tones, as well as lots of novelties by one of our favorite people, Neflock. So,
yeah, good friend of mine too. He actually only lives like 20 minutes from me tops. So I'm a big fan. Really nice guy.
Hell yeah. So before we get into GMK Noir, we haven't done a fast four on here in a little bit because I think, honestly, I don't remember why, but I guess Dixie's done it like 5 times, and he's one of the few people that's like, this is it. It stays the exact same every single time. So starting off, your top 4 favorite switches.
Top 4, number 1 would probably be JWK linears, lubed and filmed really well, preferably. If they aren't, they're trash. 2 would probably be Gatoron inks. 3, I like creams. They're scratchy, but they have an interesting sound that I enjoy in certain boards. And then 4, I would probably say T1s. Really writing that that
JWK.
Yeah. Well, I mean, rightfully so. Like, they are just kind of like right now, they're on another level in terms of the price that you get, right? And if you're okay with lubing and filming them, which you're probably already okay with lubing, filming's not that much more difficult or time consuming. So Yeah, they're really, really worth it at this point in time. Next up will be your top 4 favorite key sets, and we're going to exclude Noir from the list.
That's fair. That's fair. Top 4. That's actually really hard. Do they have to have shipped, or can
No,
they be not shipped yet?
No, they can be in group buy. They can be interest checks.
Okay.
Or at least okay. They have to be interest checks that are like picked up and ready to go for group buy.
Okay, I follow. I would say probably GMK Darling, GMK Botanical, GMK Toozy, and 4. I want to say DSA Milkshake, a bit of a throwback. That was like the first ever key set that I was truly hyped for. So probably that.
I have to look up GMK Toozy.
Oh, it's so fucking cute. Holy shit, dude.
That's
Yeah,
like
I'm
a
looking it up
cross
as well.
between the Frost Witch and DMG, but with cute animals instead of
cute fucking bunnies. What could you ask?
The novelties kit is pretty freaking adorable.
Who did the novelties on this? Or was it Sensei Gia? Well, it is a cool set. I mean, and plus it's purple, so it'll sell well.
It was meat smoothies. It says on the bottom of the geek hack.
Meat smoothies. That's
my favorite dinner. Meat smoothies.
I know, right?
Who doesn't love a good meat smoothie?
But interesting DSA milkshake. Did you get cat milkshake as well? I can imagine.
I did, yeah. I got most of the kits for cat milkshake. I would have liked it more if it didn't have cat issues, but
yeah.
What can you do?
Not by cat.
To be fair, they didn't know at the time. Like it was, they were kind of going in blind at that point.
I just don't like cat, and I'm okay with it because that means I don't have to spend money on cat.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the profile. I love the material, and I love the sound. I just don't love the quality for my money.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's definitely can be rough.
But next up, top 4 favorite keyboards.
This one always hurts a little because I just 4. I don't know how to do that. Can I do it dead? Probably Thermal. Jane CE. Actually, I really loved that. And Dash. And for flavor, let's just go with the Andromeda. That was like the newest keyboard that like really sticks out in my mind as having been something special.
There you go. Also, Alex Odos, why are you so cute? And Machu Poppy, ask that question a little bit because I have words. Just heads up. He's asking about Infinity key sets and quality. Yeah, we'll get there. We have our last fast.
Yeah, so the last one will be one that has nothing to do with keyboards, but your top 4 favorite foods.
Okay, so pasta of any kind, but specifically I would say lasagna. If I didn't just say pasta, my top 4 would just be pasta. In fact, I think we're gonna have to go with groups because otherwise it'll make no sense. So any sort of pastry, I am a big lover of baking and pastries of all sorts. And then probably Takis or hot Cheetos for number 3. And then I feel like I need some sort of like not terrible for you food. Trying to think. What's another? I really love mochi. There's something just so great about being able to hold your ice cream in your hand. And I just really love like mochi dough as like a taste. So probably mochi, actually. I have like 5 different packs of different flavors of mochi in my freezer at all times.
I love the idea that someone was like, I love ice cream, but it's so inconvenient. These cones are terrible. Want the ice cream.
Let's just wrap it in a dough ball.
So But yeah, guys, this is Apiary again. We're going to talk a little bit about, well, as much as you would like to, about GMK Noel. You teased it, not even teased it. You just talked about it last time you came on stream.
Noel.
Noir.
Not, I don't know, Noir. Man,
Words are hard. It's okay.
Words are hard. Noel is.
I wish I had jumped on the weeb set train, but unfortunately,
It'd be like that. They're the exact same in color, right? Like they look
dead on.
one to one. But GMK Noir, looks fantastic. It's got you went with the monotone look, which I think is not. It's like it gets every time I see a mono set, people kind of start, oh, it's just this, oh, it's just this, but like it's not done enough and it's not done well enough. Like I feel like sometimes people are like you've got GMK white on black and you've got GMK minimal, but and then I think Nines is one of the few sets that has done it like really, really well. And then now we've got Noir that's done it really well. You've got great colors and you've got great novelties. So walk us through how it all went down.
So back in January, I was in a voice chat with some friends who will remain nameless. And I was like, man, I can't find a set that I like that matches most things to save my life. And that's so frustrating. Like, as somebody who like builds up a ton of boards, I just like I have to buy like a million sets, so I make sure I have something that looks good on everything. And it's such a nightmare. And I was just like, man, I wish I could just like have one set, just one set that I know I can keep on standby, and like whatever comes through that door, it'll look nice on it at least, right? Because obviously it's really hard to make something that'll look perfect on it without being boring, which is another issue because I find, I have really, really high-end boards come through my doors a lot, but I also get like tofus and stuff, and I want to make the tofus look nice, but you need a set with a little more pizzazz for that, right? And so I could never find a minimal set that wasn't so minimal that it would look terrible on budget boards, or it wouldn't look terrible on budget boards, but also it wouldn't overwhelm, those higher end boards. And so that's kind of what I wanted to do with Noir. And also, minimal sets can be kind of boring. So I kind of wanted to tweak the colors a little bit so that it wouldn't pull, too warm or too cool. It wouldn't feel like too drab or vintage, but also not too, out there. But also just not be, white on black or black on white.
Absolutely.
Which, by the way, is way fucking harder than you think it is. I just say.
Well, you're dealing with like micro adjustments, and that's when it gets really annoying. Whenever you're like, oh, I want these two colors that are polar, that are complementary colors, where it's like your tweaks are not as much because they're bright and flashy and all that. But when you're like, all right, let's make it like 2% this way, you're like, fuck, that ruined it.
I had to borrow fan decks from people and like make sure, that I had like the right exact like creamy beige that wasn't too brown, but also wasn't gray, but also, wasn't too white. And it would like hold up to the contrast of like plain black in the background, but not pull like too one way or the other. So it would completely ruin the tone. So like fingers crossed we managed to do that.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I love this color combination of like the black with the creamy beige. I think it always looks good together. I have a couple like shirts that use that where like, well, this one's kind of almost like that, but a little bit more of like a yellowy color. But I have a couple of other shirts that are like a beige color with like either black or the inverted of that, and it just looks so clean. And then you and Netflock, you partnered together on these novelties, and they really kind of like, I think, spice up the set and make it more pizzazz, as you said. Give it a little bit more pizzazz and really bring it to a different level. How did you come about designing some of these with Netflock?
So I've actually I've known Riley for I'm just gonna call him Riley. I'm sorry, I can't call him Netflock. I've known Riley for a really, really, really long time. He was actually one of the first people I ever talked to in the hobby. So I knew him back when he still hadn't run Metropolis and hadn't even thought of really running Metropolis seriously. But you know, we got to know him, and Riley's a designer by trade. It's what he does on his day to day. He works as a designer. And he has a bunch of his art up in his home that he's done. Not a ton of it, right? Not in a weird way, but like
Mhm.
obviously, if you're an artist, you'll have some of your art up in your home. And I remember every time we would go visit him and hang out as friends, which feels really weird saying that now that we're in COVID and we can't
Yeah.
hang out with people. But
Are
when
you
we used
saying
to
you're
like
hanging out with someone?
when we used to hang out with friends, back in ye old days, um, I would see his art and I would just fall in love every time. And so I knew if I ever made a key set or anything even moderately art related, I'd want to get him involved somehow. So even before I ever even thought of making noir, really, I was like, Riley's going to do the novelties. So for the novelties, I just really wanted something. I felt like Jane Glad's gonna kill me. I always felt like minimal kind of missed some potential for novelties. I really felt like it would be really cool if it had some like minimal novelties just in case you wanted them. And so I basically sat down Riley and gave him a bunch of like inspiration picks that I knew would work with his style because I'm pretty familiar with it. And I was like, I want you basically to make the novelties that I wish Minimal had, but make them for noir. And then that's what we did.
Got to draw inspiration from somewhere. I dig it. Now, what's great is that they manage to be busy while still remaining minimalistic.
Hmm.
Uh, like because they spread the whole cap, it's not super tiny. Like
Hmm.
it just works.
Hmm.
I mean, that's just a testament to how good Netflix is at designing novelties. I mean, some of the best novelties out there, in my opinion, Metropolis, right up on that list.
Yeah. We went
And
through.
that's up there with fucking, in my opinion, Camping Round One novelties are some of the best that's ever been done. Metropolis is right up there. It's probably number two, honestly, because
I agree.
they fit the set so well.
Hmm.
And this just fits.
Hmm. Yeah, we went through a ton of iterations. We went through a ton of brainstorming, but by the end of it, basically, we made the novelties. Um, and then then we came back and we made some desk mats, and by the time we got to the desk mats it was like he came up with like 4 designs and we picked 3 and it was perfect, like no big deal. But at the beginning stages, like the novelties, we went through so many iterations, not just because we wanted to get the feel perfect for the set, but also we really we had to work within GMK's tolerances and we didn't want to push them too far. And so we actually I have like a folder, like a proper big ass folder of rejected novelty designs from Nora.
I like it because I feel like a lot of sets struggle too with like novelties, and then in turn the desk mats and stuff of it all being cohesive. Like some
Mhm.
sets, you'll look at them, and even between novelties, they'll have different art styles, different design styles. Where it's like, well, if I'm going to use this one, I can't use that one because it just kind of doesn't work together. Whereas these all have like a cohesive um, design style to them, and they all work really well. I feel like you could use in some form or fashion each one of these different novelties on the same board.
Yeah, I mean, I've always felt like that's what novelties were meant to do. So it's definitely, yeah, that's obviously something we wanted to do for sure. What's the point of a novelty if you can't use it?
Exactly. So, and I want to go over something that I thought you've done brilliantly. It helps. It does help a lot whenever it is a mono set because you're not having to make mod and alpha colored keys to make up for. But you've included your Alice style layouts, especially getting that extra B in there. So the kitting on this is fantastic. You're not pissing off anybody from anybody using ISO. The 12 people that do, you're you're kidding. Whoop.
Oh, my camera's gone. I'm here. My camera died. Sorry.
But you're not triggering anybody with ISO. You've got every key I can imagine. How is kitting this? What was the process of that like? Going through, going through and trying to make everybody happy, but also trying to make this obviously as a profitable set that you can hit certain marks. and I will continue to talk and pretend like I am asking a question while you figure this out.
I
So
appreciate that. I feel like so a lot of the working with Neflock for the novelties was a huge like benefit to me, and I got really lucky that I know him and working with the designer when I'm as picky as I am with the art that I like to use um, was really really helpful. And in kind of a similar vein, I was very lucky to get an enormous amount of help actually from Oblotsky and Zambumon with my kitting. I kind of went through a couple of iterations on what I kind of wanted my kitting to be. Um, but there was just, it just wasn't working. And so finally I was okay, I need help. And so thankfully Oblotsky and Zambumon were kind enough to, kind of sit down and help me figure out a kit that included everything that I felt like and they thought that we needed, and, kind of adjust it from there.
Yeah, and people are saying about complaining about the price. This is a massive kit. I can't think of a lot of boards that would not. I mean, outside of obviously like ortholinear or Huey and his Colverac typing habits. Like you're able to accommodate 95% of boards that are on this that are with the set. So like, yeah, 140 is expensive, but I think Osiris said it a long time ago. Is like when we see a huge base kit like this go for 140, people freak out. It's like, oh, it's $30-$40. Like this is what they used to be. Like
with less keys. Like this is what they used to be, and they still had a spacebar kit and other like child kits. Like
like you're
not getting crazy value.
You're not getting that Alice spacebar layout. Like you're not getting that back then. And
yeah, I actually have a huge issue with a lot of the current kitting and marketing revolving that the push for, I don't want to go too into detail because I'll come across as salty. But like I genuinely do really have a huge issue with some of the kitting decisions that are being made for marketing reasons. It's the reason why people do $9.99 instead of $10 on prices, and I understand it and it makes sense from a business point of view, but I hate it so much. So like I knew that, the whole point of Noir was to make something that would fit everything, and to make you pay $170 for your board. Forget that goes against everything that I want for this hobby. That just goes against the entire ethos of the set. So I made the conscious decision. I knew $100 base kit would sell better. I knew that by pricing it and doing the kitting the way I did, I would be shooting myself in the foot numbers wise, but at the end of the day, I have to do what I feel like is right. And that's what I will always do. So that's why we did
respect.
It's nice to be able to get a set that supports Alice and not have to buy the 40s kit as well, which nothing against 40s, but it's like, in a sense, you end up paying like $60 or $50 for this kit where you're only going to use maybe 3 or 4 keys in total. Like that's,
I mean, I feel
I'd rather pay 15 extra for the base kit.
I spent $35 extra for a fucking accent spacebar. On that topic, I am genuinely curious as to why there is no accent spacebar. Maybe this is a personal decision, but this is the one thing that I feel like is missing from the set from a personal taste point of view, because it's the one thing that drives me crazy about Nines is that it doesn't have the spacebar, the accent spacebar. So why did you choose to go without an accent spacebar?
Yeah, no problem. That's an easy answer. So originally the plan for Noir was to have a light and a dark kit. So originally I wanted to basically just do an inverse Noir. And that way, if you wanted like dark mods with light alphas, you could do that. If you wanted light mods with dark alphas, you could do that. If you want an accent spacebar or non-accent spacebar, you could do that. And eventually, fingers crossed, if all turns out well, and this sells enough, I'd love to eventually do a round 2 noir with that light kit. And so I felt like offering an accent space kit. Not only do I not really want, an accent spacebar really personally, and I don't really find that it fits particularly well with this type of set. But also I just felt like, I wanted to keep the kitting simple. I wanted it basically to just be base and novelties. And also I wanted to keep the cost down. And so when you try to keep the cost down but give people a ridiculous base kit, something's got to go. And so in this case, knowing that the eventual plan might be, this is all very maybe, might be to bring a light kit, and you would get that anyway eventually. The accent spacebar is what had to go.
There you go. It's solid choice, or solid reasoning. Yeah, I mean, and that's, once again, that's a personal, like, I know Osiris is not the biggest fan of accent space bars. That's just something that I really like. So, but no, I mean, again, the fact that you were able to accommodate Alice boards in this is fantastic, because someone said, there she is. Someone said in chat, it can be, not you might not want to buy an Alice style board, because then you're like, fuck, well, if I have these caps but I didn't get the spacebar kit, and the longer away from extras, the harder and harder it's going to be to get those space bars, and typing on upside down shifts is real goofy. It's real goofy. So welcome back.
Thank you.
Welcome
Hopefully
back to
we
the stream.
stay. I cracked a window. I can't. So let me explain the issue. Usually I have a big old fan going to keep my face cam cooled down, because it has a tendency to overheat and turn off, but I couldn't do that because I need to have RTX voice on in order to do that, and for some reason Discord isn't recognizing RTX, so excuse me. I apologize.
Man, it's like a whole bunch of different things that make it to where it just kind of sucks. That is unfortunate. Yeah, RTX voice is like one of those things. It's a great program and it works really, really well. But sometimes, like Discord, it just messes up. Like I've been in a call with someone, and then RTX voice is just like, "Hey, I'm gonna stop working," and then it just makes all these really weird sounds. And it's unfortunate, but we're glad to have you back, and hopefully the camera doesn't overheat, as the Sonys are known to do.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So, outside of Noir, I mean, I know the set's doing well. The desk mats are fantastic. I know the Salvin caps. So I do want to touch on the Salvin caps.
Mm-hmm.
Were those made in a way that, because if I'm not mistaken, maybe they were announced. Yeah, I guess they were announced at the exact same time. But the colors, you kind of went away from the colors of the set to do the Salvin caps.
Yeah, so it kind of has to do with the way Salvin makes his caps, and also kind of with the way that I wanted it to work. So I have never really felt like, sorry, I just had to fix something real quick. I've never really felt like I've particularly liked most metal artisans, just because I don't feel like, when they try to match the colors, they never actually look like part of the set. You can't match the same texture and exact color and exact feel between metal and plastic, right? It's just not, you can't. They're not the same. Yeah. And so instead of that, I kind of wanted to lean into that idea of the fact that they wouldn't match, and instead of making it just slightly off, which annoys me beyond words, I just wanted to make them accents. I figured it would work a lot better. That's it.
And they can go on other things too. I think, because I think one of the few, when it comes to white and black, it's okay. It gets a little bit better, but I still think the best Rama cap ever was the golden ticket for GMK chocolatier. I was like, okay, I get it. That fits because you can get rid of the golden ticket caps and just have that beaming, polished brass on there. But
I mean, I like these.
I also, sorry.
Oh,
I was gonna say, Raycami said you can also use them as standalone artisans. That was part of the idea too. I didn't want to make them noir exclusive. Like it only looks good if you have noir. I wanted it to kind of just be like something anybody could grab if they like the look of it. You know what I mean?
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Is that they don't like scream noir, and I feel like a lot of the other artisans, and I think that's kind of like a lot of like the Rama, not artisans, but Rama caps, the metal caps. They're a little bit flashier, and they're very like tied to the set that they're running for. Like it's hard to use them somewhere else. Like you can't use the Olivia Inter on something else except for maybe Cafe because they're the same set. But 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 no, these are nice because they're subtle and they have a cool design to them, but also aren't overly noir to where you're like, this is out of place if you threw it on, with black on white or white on black or really any other set that could tie into the color of cap you buy.
Yeah. And you look at the ones that are the most popular, and it's the ones that don't really tie in. I think it was Stryker that had the Japanese flag cap, where it's just white with a red dot, and like people fucking loved it. I'm like, yeah, because it's not Stryker, it's the Japanese flag cap. Like they did it, and it's done really well, and it works perfectly with this cap set. But it also you can go and move it elsewhere, and it's still as a standalone, and it's fantastic. And these are well done. They definitely have the artwork for it, so it kind of matches, but with the brass one, or not brass but bronze one, or maybe copper.
It's copper. Yeah.
Copper. Okay, so with the copper one, I think that one's like awesome because I'm like, that's just cool. It just looks cool. It looks kind of like steampunky. Like it's got some cool vibes.
I don't like just slapping the same motif on a million different things and calling it a collection. I don't like that. I don't like things that can't like stand on their own a little bit. I feel like if it can't stand on its own, why are you bothering to make it? You know what I mean? And so nothing with Thor did I really want to make not stand on its own. I wanted everything to be good in its own right and still like feel together, but still be good on its own and not feel like it was the same thing copy and pasted 10 times. I don't want to be lazy. You know what I mean? I hate lazy.
Yeah.
Well, that copper one, with all the copper that we've seen come out with, some of these higher end boards, like that'll just be like a really cool tie-in from keycap set using the noir cap to tie into the copper board. I'm really excited to see those pictures when they start popping up.
Me too.
And I'm interested because I know Chewy's obviously dealt with this with running the squid and the baka. But did you feel any extra pressure of being someone who is already like known for something kind of different in the community? Of like, was there a fear there of like putting this out and like, I don't know, just like, were you extra cautious about the way you approached it or in different ways of designing noir?
I knew at the end of the day there would be a few people who, might think that I was only, putting it out to make money off of the people who followed me. And so that bothered me. But beyond that, not really. I feel like I approached it the same as I would. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think of myself as somebody in the community at all. As far as I know, I'm still just like somebody who hangs out and like, KB artisans in the MetKeys Discord, like I always have. And, I'm just somebody who really likes keyboards and I just happen to turn on a camera every once in a while and that's it. Because let's be honest, I really am not anybody. So like, I don't think it really affected my decision making beyond, understanding that inevitably there would be some people who hated it simply because they hate me for whatever reason, but I can deal with that. And, regardless of whether or not I'm visible in the community in a certain way or not, I would still put, all the effort that I put into it.
Yeah, it's interesting being in that position because if you take a stand on take a stance on like I don't like this because of this. Well, then
Yeah.
now because people listen to you, people listen. I mean, there's people listening to us right now, and whether or not you take that to heart of what you're listening to. Sorry.
Please don't say the word influencer. Good Lord.
I'm not going. No, I'm not going to. I'm laughing at the fact that somebody did say influencer. And there I said it. But you do have what you say can be taken to word. We've seen it happen in the community already. And so you kind of have to like it's like you want to say what you want to say or you want to do what you want to do, but then it's like annoying because you're like because I'm sure I know you're very much like this where I'm going to do exactly what I'm going to do. What sucks is I have to deal with these repercussions because I've put myself out there, and so now I'm going to have to go on stream, and when I announce this, people have an easy way to come at me.
Well, I don't particularly care, what people think of me. I'm kind of like, you don't have to agree with me. You don't have to like me. I really don't care if you agree with me or like me. You do have to respect me.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm more scared of is I have to be so careful about the way I word my opinions
Mm-hmm.
because for whatever reason, some people take them as undilutable, undeniable fact. And that to me is really scary, especially in such a preference-based hobby. Like if I say kiwis are bad, kind of nonchalantly, offhandedly, what I really mean is I don't like kiwis. It doesn't mean that kiwis are bad, and that's not the case. I do like kiwis. I'm just using that as like an example. But and see, that's like that I have to do that annoys me to no end. But you just fucking watched it in action there, I guess. But if I have to be really careful. I want to make people aware of certain things and understand my opinion, and I'm always careful to like tell people where I'm coming from and where my preferences lie, but I'm not perfect. I can't always like addendum everything with like my personal preferences every time and like make sure people know when I'm being super serious or when I'm kind of joking around or just talking, because I talk to my stream as though they were a friend, and so like that's scary. Right?
Yeah.
So like that's stressful to me. I don't care if people like me or people want to send me hate because they always have, right? Like
It's gonna happen.
As soon as you're visible in the hobby, and as much as I don't want to really touch on this topic at all because I fucking hate it, the fact remains that I am female, and so that comes into play quite a bit as well as we see every time I come on your stream even. But like it's gonna come. I don't give a shit. I expect that, and while it hurts, I'll get over it, and I expect it. I'm much more worried about people misunderstanding my thoughts, my words, my meaning, and like twisting it to either think that I'm attacking them or that twisting it to use it to attack others, which is the last thing I ever want.
I will say I really love when I'm in your stream and like someone comes in chat and is like being super misogynistic. And then like it's at the point now like you don't even have to say anything, but your chat is just like on them like vultures, and it is awesome.
Yeah,
Like,
my chat is amazing.
It's great. But that's a good way to think about it. Of like, I don't know, you have to not care but also have to be mindful of like how do I come across? Because I know I do it like every time we get done with stream and I see, okay, well, we've been clipped like 5 times this stream. Did anyone clip something out of context that I need to go delete because someone's gonna like if someone clips what you just said of like, oh, kiwis are bad, and it's just that section, and then now like that creates all this issue, and you're like, come on, it's like completely out of context.
I've had so much shit I say taken out of context and misunderstood and twisted, and it's easily the worst thing about this hobby. And again, I don't care if they like twist it to hurt me, like whatever. What are you gonna do?
It's funny.
when they use it against other people and say, well, Apiary says your opinion is bad, or like something along those lines, that's what I'm like, fuck. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Well, that's, I mean, you do have to kind of have that thick skin, but I always laugh at the shit that I get sent where I'm like someone got mad at me. This is why I think this is probably one of the funniest things that's happened. Someone approached me because Mentorly made Zycos, and they made Zycos, and they didn't like them. And then they messaged me about it. They're like, "Hey, I saw Mentorly make Zycos, so I tried them out, and these are garbage." I was like, "Okay."
It's like I don't care.
I didn't tell you to know. I know she didn't tell you to. So I was like, I guess at least you're not bothering Mentorly with this. But I'm like, I understand there are a lot of people, especially the trolls on the internet, that are like, I need to have my voice heard. And those always just make me fucking laugh. But yeah, it's the ones where it's like other people are using you in a fight against someone else, or I'm like, you're not
That really
even.
gets good. That really, like, all I want for this hobby, and it's never gonna happen, and I know that, and that gets under my skin on occasion too. But all I want for this hobby is for it to feel like a hobby for everybody. I want people to stop taking keyboards so fucking seriously, and like, but like still like be interested in them and like understand like what's good and what's bad, but like also understand that it is preference based, and I want people to fucking get along, and I don't know why that's so fucking hard.
Dude, people just need to learn that, like, if you don't like something that someone made, it's not a personal attack. Like if I was up here and I was like, oh, yeah, I don't like noir. Like, that's nothing against you. It's just like, maybe I don't like that set. It's like, that doesn't hurt any relationship that there is between us, any friendship. And it's like, people just need to stop being so sensitive and like taking things as personal attacks on them. Like, it's okay to not like something. It's why this hobby exists, is because we didn't like something, so we made it better. And people just like things in different ways.
Well, also, you're not cool for not liking something.
That's true.
For the record.
If you don't like 65s, you're an idiot. Dave?
Listen, here's my rebuttal. I can pull up the Discord message where Apiary said, after telling me she was going to buy my board, went back on her word and said, "It's win keyless. I can't buy this." I'm saying that to me. She was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." And I was like, "Hey, if you don't like it, I'm not gonna force you to buy something."
So true. I was like, all pumped, and then like I was like, wait.
In her picture, she was like, "Oh, like, is this really what it is?" I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." I was like, this has zero effect on me, because this board was originally made as a very, very specific layout and feel. And if you don't like that, and you must have apologized 50 times. You apologized the next day. That was the thing. The conversation had finished and you came back and apologized. I'm like, you're like, I promise you, I don't care.
Like, that's very I think.
So, but no, I mean, it's funny. It's a very interesting hobby to be in, and a very especially because I want to bring up what crazy boy 1179 said, because the hobby is obviously significantly bigger than it was the first time that the three of us were streaming together. So it says, at Mex on Deck and Marcia, COVID-19 and quarantining definitely played a huge role in making the hobby community explode. Do you any of you see the hobby community slowing down to a more gradual pace, or continue to grow at an exponential growth?
Well, I mean, hobby's always grown. If you look at the art mechanical keyboard statistics for like people who join the sub, right? It's always grown. It's doubled every year, at least doubled every year since it was created, right? So it's just always done that. I don't think this year is any different. Or doubled or tripled or whatever. And it's been really consistent. So I don't see the growth of the hobby slowing at all, unless something terrible happens. Fingers crossed it doesn't. Maybe if we all get sick and die, people might stop buying keyboards. But beyond that, I think we're fine. So yeah, no, I don't really see it slowing at all. I don't think this growth is anything beyond what we've seen in the past, particularly. I mean, it's definitely a little bit bigger, but I don't think it's like hugely big. You know what I mean? So yeah, no.
Yeah, compared to a lot of hobbies, it's still incredibly small. And while I did see we did see a growth, I think there was more growth before the quarantine. There was a lot more growth before all of that. So
I don't know if it was necessarily growth. I think it was just people got $1,200 for doing nothing. And they
yeah,
were like, I'm going to use this to buy keyboards or buy things that I haven't, I was looking at for the past couple months. Because, I mean, it's, hey, here's free money. And whenever you get free money, you want to spend it.
a little
But
extra, a little spending money.
in terms of like the hobby slowing down, I don't think this hobby will slow down until the other hobbies that feed this hobby slow down. So things like gaming, and as like professional gaming and esports gets bigger on like a national level and in the world, as those tend to grow, there's more people from those. Like look at it, like what happened with Tifu coming, doing having Nathan build him a board, and the stuff that Nathan has done with different streamers and just streaming on Twitch for keyboards in general. Like every time gaming is getting bigger, there's always people that trickle down into this hobby. And I think once those other things start to not be as needed, then maybe we'll see a slowdown or a cease in growth, but I don't think that will happen for a long time, if at all.
Yeah, I think it might not be. If by slowing down you mean like we cut in half, maybe there might be months that are slower than others, but there's always going to be the next best thing. Crazy boards are going to come out. There's always going to be, there's new streamers can pop out of nowhere, bigger streamers doing, collabs with other people, bringing more people in. I don't see it slowing down. The only way it could is if we really start screwing up how fast we can get keyboards into people's hands, because that's a problem right now. Is the demand is so much higher than the supply. I just saw a ping from Dixie that 5,306 people entered for a Bauer 2, which is
I
insane.
I I don't think people understand how much the fate of this hobby actually rests in vendors' hands. I really don't think people understand. Because and why who you buy from actually has a huge impact on this hobby. Because as vendors, are able to gain more capital. Do you see I move my keyboard as though you could see it? I'm sorry. Habit. As vendors start to be able, a lot of the growth from the hobby that's happened hasn't just been, it has been to a degree, streamers and that sort of thing, but it's because hi Lightning, thanks for the raid.
Thank you. Lightning.
It's
Appreciate it.
because of the fact that our vendors are able to market. And the reason why you're seeing more and more keyboard streamers, which then push it further, is because our vendors are able to sponsor, and our vendors are able to get their stuff in the hands of more mainstream people and get the word out that mechanical keyboards are a thing. And so, like, in all honesty, the people who are doing the most for the growth of this hobby, and who are really deciding the direction it goes in and who the fate of the hobbies like really lies in their hands, is our vendors and the people making stuff. As much as we'd like to think that it was anybody else, it's not. It's the people making stuff and marketing stuff and putting stuff out there. And so I feel like as long as our vendors continue to, bring in money and make stuff, we're fine. If our major vendors all happen to go down, then the hobby will probably be really hurt at the very least.
Yeah.
Even if one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what we've said hundreds of times at this point of like, support our vendors that we have, because they are people who loved keyboards first. They got into it for the love of keyboards. And they are going to do what it takes. We talked about it a couple weeks ago with the whole like the upcoming Satisfaction 75 round 2, right? And talking about how Cannon Keys, how Upa spent money and time developing the system to prevent bots.
Mhm.
Koi for the Koi raffle system for Keycolt, and now the Bauer too. Like, these vendors don't have to do that, right? Like, if they were just in it for the money, they would sell 50 Bowers or 50 Satisfaction 75, 200 of them to one person because it's just money to them. But they're not. They care about this hobby and they care about the growth. So they put in the time and the effort and the money into these programs to make sure that people get their products and the people that want them can get them instead of just like some random bot.
Yeah.
There's people, I feel like people have a tendency not to listen to me because I do have sponsors, right? I have to. I need to eat, right? But like, I don't understand why people don't believe me when I say that our vendors and who you support is literally the most important choice that you make in this hobby, deciding the direction that it goes, and that it's really like I've had the opportunity to work with larger companies, and I've had equal opportunities to work with our, in-house vendors. And there's a reason why I don't work with larger companies, period. And it's not
Mhm.
because they don't approach me. It's because I've seen the difference in the way that they do business. I've seen in the difference that they care about you guys. And there's a definite choice that I want to make, even though I'm not anybody, I'm really not. Even though I am, even the decision to take money from who doesn't, necessarily make the world's biggest difference, it still really matters. And I take that responsibility super seriously. And I feel like more people should.
Well, yeah, and it's one of those like I look at I look at the Tfue thing a lot. That was big for our hobby. That was really really big. It was really cool that Nathan got to do that. If there are no vendors and there are things that people are not doing, if we don't have good quality vendors, it doesn't matter who the hell Nathan or any of us build keyboards for. If there's nothing to buy, people are going to show up and go, "Sweet, I'm here because I saw, Tim the Tap Man got a custom keyboard made from X person. Like, where do I start?" And people go, "You can't buy anything." Like, it's like, all right, cool. What fit? I don't know. Go just you go to the subreddit, and then there are these people that are just selling aftermarket things that are already used for really high prices. And it's like, no, like you need to point them in a direction. And I know that's a big reason that Osiris and I brought in sponsors. A lot of our sponsorships, honestly, they're friendships that became kind of like, hey, this could be mutually beneficial. But also it's like it's a good way to point. We want to point people in the right direction. We want to point people to people that we trust, to people that we know are going to advance the hobby further. And like you said, without them, without novel keys, who are people going to go run to when Nathan Kim says that creams are the best for gaming? You got to
Well, I
support
think it's
vendors.
also,
That was
like,
a joke for Nathan. Yeah,
I think it's also like making sure that the vendors we're supporting, you know, respect their designers and want to work with them. The more, vendors who respect their customers and vendors who truly care about keyboards and want to make the very best they possibly can. And I feel like I've also seen this troubling trend of people thinking that, customer service comes only in the form of a quick, snappy, fast, kind of bootlicking reply. And that's not the case. A lot of the customer service that our big vendors do is making sure they're giving you good products for your money, which I'm going to be honest with you, large companies don't give a shit about because, they don't have to. And so like, I think that's another thing I've seen that's kind of really, really stressing me out. If you can't tell, I'm quite stressed always about this fucking hobby. But is that I see more and more people just trying to find the cheapest they can. And I understand that. I've been broken in this hobby. I've been in this hobby for years. I've been in this hobby when I didn't have a job and I was going to college off of scholarship money. Right? I know what it's like to only have like $50 in your bank account max for 6 months. I understand, right? And I really do, but even understanding, I It's so important. And if you want this hobby to stay a nice place, and if you want to have good things for your money, then taking, the extra couple of minutes to wait uh is going to serve you dividends in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, like you said, vendors, they do try really hard, and our bigger vendors are always thinking about what's the next step. What can they do to make this hobby better, make their products better, make their website better, get out better information that is easier not only for the community to digest, but for them to put out the best information possible. Um, yeah, and like Chewy said, like our sponsors, like we're good friends with the people who sponsor us. Like we hang out and talk with them in Discord, in different voice chats, and have a good time, play games with them and stuff. Like it's not just a like like a transfer of money. But
Our first sponsorship literally was offered to us mid game in Overwatch.
yeah,
So they're like, "Hey guys, do you want to do this?" It's like, "Sure." Also, there's someone coming mid. Hurry the fuck up. It, and the guys are, I mean, the guys are brilliant, and the guys and girls behind all of the vendors. So, and I think just to kind of, I guess, wrap up on the vendor talk, don't send death threats. You know,
No,
there's,
what the fuck?
I feel like I shouldn't have to make a public service announcement to don't send death threats to vendors.
yeah,
So, and dude, you cry too much. I agree. So vendors, sponsored or not sponsored by us, more swag. Dixie has a lot of swag. I like the swag, but I want more swag. I've got one Cannon Keys t-shirt. Let's get that swag going.
yeah. Don't send people death threats. And also, like, I get it. Like, we live in an age where like Amazon is like the biggest thing in the world, and it's great to work with Amazon. But like, understand, like, be a little bit understanding that these vendors are also not Amazon. So like, also be a little bit understanding.
The vast majority, in fact, almost all of our community vendors are 3 people or less. I think there's like one, maybe 2 exceptions to that. Um, they're probably not who you think. So like it's they're tiny and they're doing the best they can, and it's important to understand that they're tiny and still support them while they're tiny so they can grow bigger. But also like take a fucking chill pill. Like
The same
can you
person
not?
that's putting something online, dealing with all the updates, talking to someone completely on the other side of the world, is also the person that's responding to your customer service inquiry, has to put a post on Discord, has to go and ship out 200 orders at USPS. Like, take a chill
I
pill
mean,
sometimes.
I'm
we're in,
sorry. I'm sorry they didn't reply to your email for 3 hours.
at 4 in the morning. Those are the best. I'm sorry if I know you get these in Apiary. I know you get these at 2 in the morning. Someone will ping you, and then get mad that you took 7 hours to wake up.
I don't want to talk about stupid fucking DMs that, give me 2 seconds to reply and then go, "Hey, ping, 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 ping,
What are you
hey,
doing?
hey."
Like,
Like,
well, I'm asleep because I'm going to my 9 to 5 job tomorrow, and why don't you chill the fuck
Jesus Christ.
out? But we're in the growing pains of the hobby right now. We're in that awkward middle school years of like, we're doing our best. Some of us are 6'2" and amazing, and some of us are about 3 years away from hitting puberty and the in the hobby of growth. Like, we're in this super awkward phase because people are like, I want to push the limits, but I also need to make sure that I don't go bankrupt. like it sucks. And then there are all these people that are just like, we need this. I'm like, we can't give it to you yet. We can't. Like,
It's also so because, I stream and because I am friends with, a lot of these vendors, I am like privy to a lot of, and I'm grateful for this. I'm privy to a lot of the going ons behind the scenes, as they try to make things happen, and a lot of these things are stuff that is set in motion 12 months in advance or 6 months in advance. at least, right? Like, you guys know how long group buys last. Obviously, making a product is going to take longer. But it's so funny when I see people saying, like, why hasn't so and so done this? Or, like, I have a great idea. What if they do this? And they've been working on it for like a year, and they're just like, fuck, why haven't I done that? Like, you're so
God,
brilliant. Thanks for telling me. Like, Christ,
jeez,
I
why
wish
didn't I
I
think
would
of that
have thought
sooner?
of this.
Well, it's like
Like,
it's
yeah.
a it's like when people are like, well, why don't we have in stock products yet? And it's like, because do you realize that 9 months ago, when all these things were first ordered, they ordered like 2,000, and then they ordered 1,000 extras of like Olivia, and
Well,
it sold out in 5 minutes. Like, you want them to order like 20,000 keycap sets because that's what it
do,
would take, and we have
do you know
no
how
idea.
expensive that is,
Oh, yeah.
too? Like, the margins for reputable vendors, the margins are not like that high, right? So you have a good idea of how expensive it would be to order like 20,000 GMK sets. Do you know how much fucking capital they would have to have?
Also, space. Like,
Warehouses.
that's it's
There's
like
so much
every time I hear like, why didn't they just order more? I'm like, man, I live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and I had 20 keyboards show up, and it took over an entire room. I have 90 boards showing up to the same apartment here in the next few months, and I'm not going to have a livable space for a while until I get those boards out.
Also,
Like,
like, how many of these vendors, even a year ago, were just operating out of their garage?
yeah,
Like,
Yeah. Well, and like exactly what Raikami says of like they'd be investing their entire life savings into like every group, like into every order, and it's like if they have one fail, the company just is absolved.
oh my God. And then people, I mentioned this to somebody, and it's fucking killed me. I mentioned this to somebody, and they were like, well, why don't they get investors? Like, yeah, they could probably find investors, but then you have to do what the investors want, which
and you
means
have
you
to
have
pay that.
to
You have to pay that money back too.
that too. And also, like, not only do you have to do what the investors want, but they're going to want what is best for business, which is not going to be what's best for your customers, right? So obviously, none of our vendors who care about us are going to go that route, because then they'd have to become what they hate, right? And that's the last thing any of us want.
Yeah, DDD clients got it right. Just go to a bank, get a 20% interest loan, boom,
Easy.
profit.
I mean, I know some vendors that actually went out and got like loans to do group buys.
Like a small business loan.
Yeah, got loans to do group buys, and then
I mean,
obviously
if
were
you
able to
did
pay
it,
them off. But
if
like,
you did it small enough to where it would like let's say you have another job. Okay, so let's for whatever reason, let's say that I'm going to go make the Baka V2 and I'm whatever, the Squid 2, Baka 2, whatever, and I decide, you know what, I'm going to sell these as an in stock item. So I'm going to go take out a small loan that I could afford if all these basically go about the smart way and go, I can afford to pay this off, although it would kind of suck if all 50 of these boards fell flat and no one wanted a single one. It's not the dumbest thing in the world. I personally wouldn't do it because I'm married and I don't want to be like, hey, on top of spending our life savings, we'll get rid of the guest room and we'll we'll get rid of the den and we'll just have 50 unbuilt keyboards in there. But I could see someone going, well, I'm going to make the most like crowd pleasy keyboard right now and then try and sell it as an in-stock item. It could work. But the problem is, however many, like all it would take is one reviewer or one person to come in and go, this board fucking sucks. And then you're just ruined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're sitting there with a high interest loan and a shit ton of keyboards that are just paperweights at this
but
point.
the thing is a lot of vendors have taken those loans on and like done that. Like, vendors have done that because they take the personal risk because they want to make things happen, right? Like they need to do it in order to get things rolling. You know, maybe it's a group buy they have to spend some money on to do some R&D to make sure things will work before they can put up the group buy thread, right? Maybe they need to do like 6 revisions of prototypes, and those aren't cheap, right? Like, prototypes are expensive. Sometimes they have to do that, and I know vendors who have like So when I hear people talk about how our vendors like don't do enough, I'm like, you have no clue. You have zero
The,
idea what they
the
do.
risk. Yeah. At any
People are
point,
just
it could all
nuts,
come.
man. I
Yeah.
just
Anyway,
gets me
let's
fired up.
let's get some like positive thoughts going. Ask some positive questions. Because I did see one. I didn't want to ignore it, but I saw someone that was like, "What's your hot take?" I'm like, "That's negative."
I hate. Can I just? Okay, I know this is
Yeah,
not
go.
positive,
You can
but real
No,
quick.
we'll do the hot topic. We'll do the hot takes, and then we'll
No,
as the positive questions come in.
my hot take is I fucking hate hot takes. I really do. I hate this trend of just shitting on everything. Like we just talked about how much our vendors like go through, and it's actually one of the biggest stressors of my fucking life. In that like I don't know. I don't know. Like, there's like this thin line you have to walk as like a reviewer who cares about these vendors. But I want to like I have to review things honestly. Like that's just my basic morals. And so I know the risk that these vendors are taking on these products. And every time I get something in that I don't like, it fucking guts me because I know that I have to say I don't like this, and I know what went into it, and that is hard. So like just seeing this trend of people who just think it's fun or funny to watch somebody rip something to shreds that honestly probably isn't even that bad, uh, breaks my heart. Honestly, um, I'm here for honesty. I'm here for straightforwardness, but being mean for the sake of entertainment has never been funny to me. And I understand these are products and businesses. Trust me, I understand probably more than most people, but I also understand what goes into making these products and these businesses. I just don't think it's funny. I don't think it's fun. I don't think it's anything. I don't like it. And I know I occasionally like give my opinion in like a fun and entertaining way, but I always try and like be honest and legitimately honest and not just say something because I think it'll make me look cool. I'm saying it because it's the truth. And I wish more people did that. I hate this trend of hot takes are
Hot takes.
so
Hot
funny.
take. Apiary's garbage. Like, come on.
Well,
Some people take it.
that's actually not even hot.
That's not hot
That's a
take. That's
lukewarm
just
take.
flavor.
Also, Dixie, it's not going well, but you know what? College football just doesn't exist this season. That's what I've come to. I've come to realize that college football just is not a thing this season, and I'm just ignoring everything around it.
What's everyone's favorite keyboard related clothing? I like my Cannon Key shirt.
I have a bunch of amazing cute. I have a Tiny Makes Things hoodie. It's fucking comfortable, expensive, but hella nice. I think that or my Bongo Cat hoodie that I got from TKC are probably my two favorites. They're like cropped hoodies, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I think mine thing is the only thing I really have is the Cannon Keys. I do have a Dixie shirt, and that one's pretty nice as well. But I like
I
my
love
Cannon
my
Keys shirt.
Smith and Rune sweatpants, which my wife stole this week. She just like pointed at her sweatpants, like, "Yeah, what's up?" Those are really great. My issue is I'm a big guy and I have an extremely tall torso, so shirts have to be long enough for me to not be like walking around with a halt, like not halter, a cut off shirt. And so some shirts, one, I just wear a big shirt, and two, it needs to be long. So a lot of the stuff that comes out, I'm like, whenever a hoodie comes out, it's great, but then they're like $60 hoodies, and I'm like, bitch, I'm cheap. I go to Walmart or Target and get my hoodies because they're hoodies. I'm like, this is like an unlabeled black hoodie that I stole from my wife. So no Superman logos.
No.
All right.
Dixie, we were just talking about how much vendors do for the community. And yeah.
Except Dixie. We
Oh.
prefaced the whole thing with we're not talking about Dixie, but
Yeah,
here's why
everybody
vendors
but
are
that
great.
guy. Fuck him. Well, actually, like, I don't want to come across as, this is another thing that really bothers me. I guess today is just what really bothers Apiary. I hate when I say anything positive about a vendor and somebody's like, well, you're only saying that because they give you money. Or like, you only care because you want this. But bitch, fuck off. Are you serious? Like, have you seen? I don't think there's a vendor who I haven't said I don't like something from them. Like, go get fucked. I don't understand why people can't just give honest opinions without having everybody jump down their throats.
Yeah. Well, it's like people think we
Let's
get everything for free, and like
Oh God, I
we
wish.
don't. And
that'd be
we spend
amazing.
money with these vendors. Like we buy things. We still
Okay,
have
but
to buy
low
them.
key, we use our not discount codes, but we do use our affiliate links. So we're at least putting a little bit of money into our own pockets.
You know, I've actually never done that, and I think I was talking
It's
to
leaving
Alan.
money on the table.
I was talking to Alan, and he was like, "Well, why don't you use your affiliate codes ever?" I'm like, "Is that legal? Like, is that like a thing people do? Is use their own?" I guess it makes sense. I
Dave
just never thought of it.
Dave purchased this thing with the mechs on deck. Chewie
Yeah.
gets the money.
Yeah, just
I
it's
see.
Split personalities.
loophole. Yeah, exactly.
Loophole. There's the hot take. Everyone has to go around and say one bad thing that the vendors from your sponsor list.
But no, I did like Trey Pop's question earlier of what do you think the next keyboard gimmick is going to be in the hobby? We've seen the knob and the OLED screens. What is next?
I think the knob and the OLED screens are going to be around for a while. Most people don't want to think of something new, so we're just going to be through an iterative hell of knobs and OLED screens for at least another year before somebody gets a bright idea and actually tries something new.
I think honest pick, I think we're going to see more interesting integrated plates. What I would like to see would be updates to like wireless keyboard stuff. Like I think that would be a cool option, is because you can get it mounted. You know, you can design the case around the fact that it's going to be wireless. Sorry, Zap. But you can design a case to where it could be wireless if you're thinking about like where everything can be. But I do think personally, I think it's going to be like integrated plates of a certain type that are more unique, because we're seeing the growth and the innovation that someone like Smith and Rune has done, where they've changed how plates are being made. And so when you see something like that, I'm like, that's what I think the next step is going to be.
I think it's going to be the maglev. Once they figure that out, because we've already seen that other board that got IC'd like last week. Dude, once someone figures that out, people are going to do it like crazy. It's going to replace gaskets, and there's going to be like 17 different versions of it until we figure out an exact way to do it, and then everyone's going to do that, and then it'll be we'll move on from there. And then eventually we'll go back to sandwich mount and top mount, and someone will be like, bottom mount is the new thing again, which I don't think it ever was, but yeah.
Solenoid.
Dude,
Bring back solenoids.
Bring back
2021. I think. Wait, somebody is.
Yeah, I mean, there's always someone bringing solenoid.
But I thought, I don't know. Spherical keyboard, I like it. Well, the question was gimmick, which implies overhyped thing that isn't really that great, right? I've heard nothing that was mentioned that doesn't fit that description.
A gimmick I think would be cool is take the Singa, all right?
Mm-hmm.
A gimmick, instead of a polycarb, make this metal, which has already been done, absolutely. RGB battery powered weights, which is not technically a weight. Hold that bad boy up, so when you're like, guys, look at my board, boom, and it's like and it plays music and it's lights and you can have an OLED screen on the underside of your keyboard. Basically think Pimp My Ride with Exhibit, X to the Z Exhibit, and just do that to a keyboard.
So now you're seeing why Chewie got Blind Assassin as a co-designer for the Baka, to make sure that ideas like that never happen.
I was gonna say, arguably.
I said before I even show you this image of what the Baka is, hear me out. RGB weights.
Arguably, anything that's not like a sandwich mounted FR4 case is a gimmick. Like, what more do you need other than a PCB?
So, But I don't know. I'm bad with the like what's the next gimmick because I'm like I'm not a designer. I'm not a keyboard designer. In regards to like I took things that I like that have already existed and put them in my board. Nothing about the Baka or the Squid was trying to push keyboards further by any means, except for me personally taking things that I like from other boards and going, well, I like this and this, and I like this and this, but this doesn't exist, so I made this. Not let's try and push the limit of what keyboards are. So the people that are like pushing the boundaries of keyboards, those are the people that are going to make it. I'm not that smart and talented.
I think what people need to do is they need to look back and see what the driving factor was behind things like gaskets, different mounting styles, different reasons for the way cuts were done or flex cuts and plates, why different materials were utilized. Because I feel like a lot of people that are just trying to do different things are just trying to do something different just cuz, and they don't necessarily understand the like intent that went into the discovery of other things within the community. I think
There's a ton of people who are just copying other people's gasketing style and not understanding why they chose what they chose and how much, the structure of the case has to do with different materials. The fact that there's more materials than just pour on and like, I there's also people who are gasketing and not understanding what you have to take into account while gasketing in order to make gaskets work, which is really frustrating. I think there's a lot of people, unfortunately, who are designing a keyboard without ever actually taking time to design a keyboard. You know what I mean? And that's really frustrating.
This is exactly why I went to somebody who designs keyboards and said, I have ideas. You need to make sure that this is a thing, that this can be done. So,
I
but, you know,
I just saw, sorry, I'm so sorry. I just saw an IC for a board uh that literally is not possible. And it's like the 10th board that some feature or multiple features or something on it is just not possible. And I feel like making sure that your keyboard is within the realms of possibility is the bare minimum you can do as somebody who wants to sell a product to this community. I don't know. Maybe I'm asking too much.
I mean, literally, okay, so when Nathan Alphaman released the Evolve, right, the first rendition of the Evolve, we criticized it. Top Clack criticized. A lot of people criticized it because it's like, well, what the fuck is this thing? This thing's gonna break. And I'm very close with Nathan Alphaman. He's an amazing person, a great friend, and a fantastic designer. We were literally like, we're gonna drive over this thing with a car. And he was like, fucking do it. And I'm like, that's what we need out of people. Is like, you know what? Let's do it. And then
we were
what
big
did he
dumb
do?
though in that
Yeah,
situation.
well, yeah, exactly. But what did he do? He went, this isn't gonna work, so I'm changing it. He admitted that, hey, because some people I feel like will fall under that, like they won't admit when something works or they won't keep going. They'll just shelve it, or I'm continuing to work on. I've seen this happen with a couple boards in the last week that, oh, I'm just shelving this for a while. I'm like, yeah, because it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Or you're promising price points. That's the one that gets me fired up is when they're like, oh, this board's got all these things. It's going to be $180. I'm like, good luck.
Everybody's like, I'm going to change the game with my pricing, not realizing that the vendors we have price things at the price they price them for a fucking reason.
This just in, raw materials is expensive.
Raw materials, shipping costs, taxes, fees, import duties, paying machinists, running through prototypes, having like a cushion fund for in case things go tits up, which they tend to. There's so much cost involved in running even a group buy, which is already like a really low risk thing. There's a lot of risk still involved.
Yeah.
Chilling in space with the big brain move. Just buy the mountain that has all the raw materials. Easy. Boom. It's over.
I think the other thing is like the level that you have to be at in order to actually just like post an interest check is basically like zero. Like all you have to do is just have a Geekhack account and the ability to post pictures. And same thing with Reddit. And what happens a lot of times is you'll see someone who's like, they maybe don't really know exactly what they're doing, but they have something that is cool looking and is maybe ambitious in the way it's designed, and they post it on Reddit, post it on Geekhack, and everyone's like, "Oh man, this looks so cool! Like this is gonna be awesome!" But it's not
Yeah,
possible.
renders look cool. This just in.
Yeah, and
Renders look dope.
there's occasionally these people who are like, "Yeah, this makes zero sense whatsoever," but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel
I
like
think
there
there's
needs to be
something.
more. There needs to be a higher level of like
There's too
entry
many people.
for
Accountability.
ICs.
There's too many people who start an AC and take interest check at too much. You should have a finished, like ready to go product when you IC something. In my opinion, you should have if you're running a board, a finished prototype. If you're running a set, it should be done, save for like one or two minor tweaks. You're really running a finished product past the public to make sure that it is good to go to group buy before you go to group buy, and that
Yeah.
is it.
Yeah, it's a hype check. It's not an interest check. It's a hype
No,
check. And
there's too many
we've
people.
moved away from it. We've moved away from it now, right? You know, we talked about this a long time ago where it's
Yeah.
interest checks used to be there so that the community could come together and go. When there was like 500 people buying key sets, the community came together and said, "Hey, let's talk this through." Now it's just not how things work anymore.
Yeah.
If you want that feedback, go into these discords, talk to people, run these sets by people, and let them be your voices so that when you approach it to the rest of the world, because not everybody's in every Discord, when you approach with your product, like would you go to a science fair thing and go, "Hey, here's your 80% of my project, but I'm looking for people to
Well, no, it's
people
like
to give
going
me
to the science
some
fair
stuff."
with like the prompt and the idea of your project, but being like, "Hey, yo, teacher, do you think this is gonna be a good one? I know I'm late, but
You have any ideas? You have any ideas?
Why
that can
are
change it?
just like why are you bringing forth a product that you want to run and make money off of and asking Geekhack to design it for you? Are you fucking kidding me? Like
Wait.
you want your customers to make the thing that will make you money? What the hell? Like what kind of fucked up logic is this? Like, hey, I have like 2 colors and no idea how to do this. Will you make me money? Fuck you.
Yeah.
No.
I fucking love this.
Well, it's like, oh, I just wanted to gauge interest before I got actual renders or figured out kitting. It's like
Before I did any work or invested any risk, I wanted to know if people would buy it. Works.
I love it. I mean, and there are a couple people that I think do it fantastically. There's I'll give the shout out to Drifting Bunnies. You know, he showed me Sloth before. He was like, "Hey, I've got 3 different pictures
Mhm,
of three completed designs."
mhm,
And he says, "I want you to let me give me honest opinions about each. Give me something you like and something you don't like about all 3. No interest
mhm,
check posted, none of that
mhm,
stuff. Just
mhm,
here's this." And I was like, "Where's the interest check?" He's like, "I haven't posted it yet. I'm trying to figure out exactly what kits to bring forward." Because
mhm,
again, you're what an interest check now, if you are not already locked down with a vendor, an interest check now is you selling your hard work to someone that can make your hard work profitable and make
mhm.
your hard work an actual physical thing. And if you're bringing up a half-assed product, I know a lot of the vendors that are going to go, "Well, this isn't done, so I'm not going to sit here and hold your hand through it." Like, you know, what is it from The Office when he's like, "You got to put your prize beats in the front, your show beats." So, um, Dixie does just do what he wants. So
Well, yeah, but Dixie still hopefully
I
brings
mean,
forward a finished product to an IC for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to check with people if you know what you're doing, but at least you're bringing forward an actual finished product or pretty goddamn close to an IC and not asking everybody else to design it for you.
Yeah. Sorry, chat, about the thing that was in chat. Also, what a creative name. 30-day ban, Pepe Hands comes in, spams something disgusting, gets banned. You know?
I didn't even see it. I saw it, but I couldn't make out what it was.
I was
Yeah,
quick.
but I
It's
just
in there.
I love the idea of like, hey Dixie, I've got my next board design all ready for you. What is it? Oh, I've just got the idea. You do all the work and then you send me the money. Probably just get a middle finger sent back to me.
I like how we were like, let's go positive here for a second.
Yeah, let's go
Oh
positive.
yeah, and then I inevitably ruined it. I'm
No,
sorry.
I don't think it was you. It was but yeah, no. I don't know. This community's in an interesting spot right now because of the growth that it's seen, and like the decisions that we make right now are going to be what's reflected for many years to come, just like how you look back at 2017, 2016, and even into 2018, the decisions that were made then are what we are looking at now, right? Like that's when Novel Keys started, when Dixie Mech started, when people like Upas and 159 got into the hobby and started having those inklings of, should I become a designer? Should I become a vendor? And so I think it goes back to what we were talking about before. We just got to be safe and be understanding of the things that we do, and the precedents that we set right now is going to be what sets the community apart and determines whether or not it survives and thrives or fails.
Yeah. So I don't make my bed brings up a really good kind of question, because it's true. Why are there so many gatekeepers in this hobby? I think that, so gatekeeping obviously comes from you going, I don't like your opinion, my opinion's better. We're in a hobby where there is so much preference. There are so many minor tweaks, down to you could love the exact same switch but hate a different lube, right? And it's like, well, no, fuck you, 3203 is better. Fuck you, 205 is better. It's like, no, like they're just different. They're just preferences. So the more preferences you introduce, the more gatekeeping there is, because what it is confirmation bias. You want people like to feel like what they spend their money on was the right decision. And then when you say, I like this more, oftentimes people will take that as, you like that more, you're telling me I'm wrong for liking this. Fuck you. And I see that a lot, because I don't know, we all see it a lot, because that's kind of human nature. You want to feel like everybody has confirmation bias about something. It doesn't have to be keyboard related, but you have something where you're like, I really like this. It might not even be the best, but I will defend that I like this thing because I have it. And I think that just kind of comes with human nature, but in the fact of like, don't act on that, maybe.
I think there's actually a lot of different things that people refer to as gatekeeping this hobby. And I think some of it is understandable and potentially necessary. Let me expound on that before anybody gets mad at me.
Yeah, let's clip that spot right there.
So like, gatekeeping is actually like a really broad category, and essentially, it just means like keeping knowledge or something from somebody else. And so, I mean, we've actually, to a degree, talked about positively gatekeeping certain things. Make sure you support good vendors, not bad. Make sure, et cetera, et cetera. And so, like, I think there's some things that are negatively gatekeepy in this hobby. There's a lot of people who, this is one of the main complaints that I hear a ton, is that people won't share their knowledge with me. Like I'll ask, which is better, this switch or this switch, and people are like, Google it or whatever. And to some degree, it's the nature of the hobby. Preference is key. To some degree, it's because there's so many fucking questions that you get asked over and over and over again, and most people don't want to have to deal with that, so they just get tired of it, tell them to go Google it. There's a certain degree you should just be Googling it, and like that sort of thing. But also, there is some, I think, some good gatekeeping. This hobby has seen its fair share of people who come to make a quick buck, steal money from people, or sell them a subpar product for too much money and leave. This hobby has seen its fair share of scammers. This hobby has seen its fair share of just people who want to take advantage of other people in this hobby, and the people who care about this hobby don't want to see that happen. And there's, this hobby used to be more welcoming, but then, things happened. You know, Teslatron happened, and other things happened, and
Here's
all of a
my
sudden,
Lumina. Oh wait.
Yeah, same.
other things happened that led to designers being less willing to share their knowledge with others, unless you prove that you actually give a fuck, and like other things along that line. And I honestly, it's sad, it's really depressing, but I understand it, and I don't think I can bash it at all.
Yeah. There's a lot of situations too where I feel like the term gatekeeping gets thrown around in a situation where someone wasn't even being gate kept, right? Like
Yeah.
if I come into the situation and I'm like, well, what's the best switch? And then someone says, well, it's preference, but there's all these different factors that go, and I go, I don't care what's the best switch. And if I just keep going down that line, and then at the end of the day, I'm saying, well, they're gatekeeping me because they're not telling me what's good. And it's like, no, you just have a lack of understanding of like the complexities of the hobby, which
Question in general.
yeah, and it's like you have to be open. It goes back to something I said last night of like you in some sense you need to understand the histories of things and where things came from in order to really truly appreciate everything. Because if you don't, then you might feel like you're gate kept. And there is a lot of situations where you could just Google something, right? You could just look at. You don't have to be upset. You don't have to make some Reddit post or be mad in a Discord because you feel like you're being gate kept. When in reality, someone is trying to help you. They're just not showing you the exact way that fits what you want, right? Like those situations happen a lot as well, and that's what I see a ton is that exact situation of, well, what's the best here, or what is this? And then it's like, then someone goes, well, it's preference, there's a bunch of different things that go into that decision, here are some things and that maybe you want to look into. They're like, well, no, I just want to know what's the best.
Yeah. What's going to give me the likes, the
Yeah.
hype, and all that? Which, I mean, yeah, and it's DD Decline Santa right, because the reason I love this hobby so much is I've spent so much time learning about things. I've built a lot of boards. I've spent a lot of time talking to people about keyboards, why people do the things they do. Because if someone comes to me and asks me, how much should I price this board at? Here's 3 bits of information. You've done group buys, you do it. And I'm like, well, what's this? What's your this? What's your this? Or, how much should I price builds at? I'm sure you've been asked that before about like, oh, how much should I be, charging people for builds? It's like, well, there's a lot of factors that go into it. They're like, just tell me a number. I'm like, well, I'm not going to tell you, because I put a lot of, some people need to realize if I'm not sharing certain information with you, because sometimes I do a lot of work and I didn't do that work for you. I did that work for me. And if you're willing to hear me out and explain how I got to the end step and not just give you the answer, then I'm happy to talk to you about it. But just if you're just looking for an answer, then bye.
There's nothing more hurtful. As somebody who, have built 500 plus boards, I've spent so much time and effort. I've been doing this full time long since before I could actually sustain myself on this full time. And back when nobody was doing this full time, not even Nathan. And certainly there weren't any keyboard streamers. And the reason why I started streaming keyboards was to share the things that I was learning with other people. And I don't think there's any bigger insult somebody could give to me than, say fuck you when I'm trying to help them. You know what I mean? As somebody who's spent so much time trying to put together, trying to learn myself so I can help other people, trying to put together resources and et cetera, having people tell me that I don't care about them or don't care about this hobby or I'm not giving them answers quick enough or, I think that's probably to hark back to what we said earlier, with the whole people DM you and then they ping you and you don't answer after 3 minutes. You have no idea how much of a slap in the fucking face that is. I don't think, and so like when people don't answer your questions immediately, or when they say, you know what, just go Google it, it's probably because you're being a fucking asshole, if we're being straight, and you need to like check yourself for just 1 second.
I love that. Check yourself before you ask me stupid question. Kidding. That was mean.
It's like we try to help. Like we always
Yeah.
try to help. No, none of the creators that I have met are like bad people to the point where they're just like, nah, dude, fuck you. I'm not gonna help you. Like even some of them that have had like been toxic in the past still are like super helpful on their streams. Like I don't know. It's crazy that they get so upset and they
let's flip this real quick, because
I like
I've had good interactions with people,
true.
and I'll never forget, because this happened, God, probably Christmas time last year, holiday season. I was sitting there watching. My wife was playing Pokemon Shield, and I was just sitting there watching her play. And I was on Discord on my phone, and this guy hit me up. He's like, "Hey, I have a couple questions about keyboard stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, sure. What's up?" And we're talking, we're chatting, exchanging messages. And he's like, "Okay, well, I don't want to bother you anymore." And I was like, "Dude, you're not bothering me." And I was like,
I
"Do you want to sit there and talk? I'm free. Like, I promise I'm doing." He's like, so we talked. He was like, "Man," he was like, "Thank you very, very much. Like, I'm so glad that I've been able to like sit down and chat with someone about this." And he was like, "But like, I really don't want to bother you." And I was like, "Bro, I'm literally sitting here watching my wife play Pokemon, having a conversation with you while having a conversation with her. Like, I'm not doing anything else. I'm not like currently streaming. I'm not like prepping for, like, we haven't streamed in a day and we're not going to be streaming for another 2 days. Like, I'm not doing anything. I am a human that does
yeah.
not work for the keyboard community. Don't feel like you have to bother." And he was so nice and so appreciative of everything. And I was like, "You're making me feel really, really happy though, because like you're being so respectful, and I love that."
Yes. Forever. I want to, like, I know I've done a lot of complaining today. I'm sorry. I've had a bad year. But like, for every bad person, there's like 5 amazing, wonderful people in the community. And that's why people do stuff for the community, right? That's why I'm here. That's why Chewy's here. That's why Osiris is here, is because of the good people in this community. If there weren't more good, then there were bad, I wouldn't be here. I doubt they would be here. Like, there are so many truly amazing, respectful, kind, helpful, welcoming, warm, nice people in this hobby. It makes me so fucking happy. I'm gonna be honest. I love keyboards. Obviously, I have way too fucking many, right? My entire life revolves around keyboards, but I wouldn't be in this hobby if it weren't for the people. All right. I wouldn't have gotten this into keyboards if it wasn't for the people who made me want to get to the keyboards. I don't think anybody else is any different.
No. I mean, it people in this hobby is what keeps it going for me and keeps it going. It keeps me excited for what's to come. I base purchases that I make off of people a lot of times. Like, it's not only the design and whether or not I like it, but if it's from someone that I know and I enjoy and that I've had great interactions with, I'm even more inclined to purchase that product. Um,
Mm.
it's almost every time we ask the question at the end of the stream of what's your favorite thing about the hobby, more often than not, it's someone they mention, community, people in some aspect. So yeah, people are great.
People are great. People are great. People also suck, but most people are pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think Luba said it really well. The best thing about this community is the people. The worst thing about this community is the people.
Yeah. But it makes me, and does make me really happy when when people reach out and they talk. And I took a lot from whenever I was really getting started in the hobby. 001 Anthony and Huey were both people that took time to talk to me about a lot. I had a lot of questions, and they just sat there and had a conversation with me. And then it made it really click, where I was like, everyone's just a person. It doesn't, like, Dixie's just a dude that lives in Alabama that happens to sell a lot of cool keyboard shit. Like,
I have terrible taste in fast food.
I mean, listen, hot take.
All right, I was like,
Hot take. No. I mean, we did say that there are people that suck in this hobby, so I'm not. I mean, but but no, like the amount of friends that I've made in this hobby, that it's killing me that there's a pandemic and I can't travel because I want to meet all of these people. And yeah, I know Osiris and I probably wouldn't have lasted a year if it weren't for like people genuinely being our friends. Like not even like, oh, we kind of know you through stream. We're like, no, these are my friends that I hang out with and I have long conversations that have nothing to do with keyboards about and all of that. So
My best friends are people who I met through keyboards. My best friends, not my best keyboard friends, not my best friends in the hobby. My best friends are people who I met through keyboards.
yeah,
That's amazing.
not meeting through keyboards,
yeah,
Osiris.
let's go. Although we did meet through kind of like another hobby of music, but hey,
Fine.
you know what?
Here,
Oh, by the
let's
way. Boom. Got
boom. There it
Hi.
is.
There you go.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's true. We talk about it all the time of like, I hang out with people and play games with people who I met through keyboards every day. I know Chewy does as well. Like, I spend
Every
most
day.
of my time that's not streaming talking to people who are in keyboards or looking at Discord or talking in Discord to other keyboard people. Like, it's basically like kind of my whole life outside of like normal 9 to 5 job stuff.
Yep. So real quick, guys, if you have any more last questions, go ahead, throw them on there. We'll kind of do a lightning round. We do need to go over the amazing vendors that we talked about. So starting off switchmod.net/Mex on deck, 4% off your order. Keep an eye out. GMK sets I know are on the way. So I know Alter just showed up. He talked about that. So if you ordered Alter, the right color combination is coming this time. So it'll be awesome to see that go out. You can go to mexondeck.dixiemech.com. GMK Redline's running right now. Go pick up that set, as well as there's some awesome desk mats on there, as well as other accessories. Project keyboards, you can go to mexondeck.project.link. Pick up GMK Noir and pick up an amazing set by Miss Apiary and Mr. Neflock. An amazing design set. So only a few more days left on that, so be sure to go snag one because it's definitely going to be a classic. And then Cannon Keys, you can go to cannonkeys.com/Mex on deck. Saturn 75 is going live this Saturday, the 31st.
Satisfaction.
As well. Why do I keep fucking call it Saturn? It's because I talk about the Saturn a lot. Anyway, Satisfaction 75. My bad. Satisfaction 75. Over at Cannon Keys. So yeah, guys, be sure to try and grab one of those on Saturday, as well as GMK Red Dragon is running. So the next in the Avatar lineup by Rensuya. And we got some awesome partners that Osiris is going to tell you about.
Yeah, so first up, Zap Cables. Head on over to zapcables.com. Pick up some of the best cables in the business. Pick up a DIY kit if you want to do it yourself. We have a video on YouTube that can walk you through how to get it built. Typebeast, typebia.st, best newsletter in the game. They'll keep you up to date on things that they enjoy that are coming out. So definitely want to sign up for that newsletter. And then Smith and Rune, go to smithrune.com. The Iron 180 is happening soon. November 14th. It's going to be dropping. We will be doing a build stream of an Iron 180 next weekend. So you're going to want to come hang out for that. But yeah.
Absolutely. So we got a couple questions. Let's see. Favorite soup? French onion. Specifically my wife's French onion.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so it's French onion. It's either good or it's terrible.
Yeah.
And there's like no in between. It's either like heavenly or god awful. So that's a bold choice. I respect it.
Also the same answer as Chewy, his wife's French onion soup. There was a time, dude, how long was it? It was like 6 months where we ate soup like every day.
Oh, it was a long. It was that minestrone, some sort of tomato soup and Santa Fe soup. It was just over and over and over. And I love it. And it's soup season. Soup season, boys and girls.
What about you?
Oh yeah,
Mine's,
sorry, Apiary.
No, you're good. Mine's my boyfriend Alan's chicken noodle soup. I have a chronic illness, and like whenever I come down sick, he makes it, and instantly like 10 times better.
Boom. Those are the best.
That's
This
awesome.
is the best. Apiary, anything you wanted to do with Noir that you had to cut?
Oh, shit tons. Are you kidding me? I think I mentioned a few things. We went through generations of novelties. In fact, the design on the Salvin cap is actually one of the novelty designs we had to cut from Nord because it just wouldn't work for, in that case, because of tolerances. It was like treading the line a little too thin. Literally. But I also mentioned, we had the idea of doing an inverse kit. There's a shit ton of stuff that I wanted to do for you guys that got caught because it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense this time around. I wanted to make sure we had interest before we did it in order to invest the time and the money and the attention into it. And also, there was stuff that we cut that I felt like it would only serve me and not serve anybody else. And that's not anything I ever want to do with anything. So, yeah.
There you go. Zabobus, we have talked that is not a boba cup, and you want to show off that cool little cup one more time.
I love how much top this cup is. There we go.
It's a hot topic.
I was really
It's so
sad
cute.
one day at like 3 a.m. and I was like, you know what? I need something to make me happy. So I bought this cup and it's fucking working. So there you go.
Let's see. What's your favorite macro pad?
Ooh. My favorite. Okay, so I love macro pads. My favorite macro pad is actually one that hasn't been announced or released yet. So we'll pass on that one. But I do have this custom Cerakoted Ocelot that is my current thing for sure. Salvin did the Cerakote for me and knocked it out of the fucking park. I've never seen such high quality Cerakote. And I'm not just saying that because he's my sponsor before I get any fucking comments. But just the Ocelot on its own is so goddamn good. And add to the fact that it's woo and I'm here for it. Other than that, it would probably be like how I have macro pads Stonefall, probably my milkshake M60. I wanted to give like a stock option because it's really, I don't know, but I just love the M60 so much. It's the first macro pad that I ever was like, holy fuck, I need that. It started me down the macro pad addiction, so I'm here for it.
I'll also say that mine is the M6, but this has been plugged in a total of 2 times. Other than that, it just sits on my desk and is a fancy place for me to show off artisans to myself. But yeah.
Boom.
And Chewy gave it to me, so thanks, Chewy.
There it is. I really like the F.ME. I think that's really, really cool that they made something like that. The one that I use is the Bento Nano. Yes, this is my confirmation bias. I will swear to God that it's a great macro pad once you get it working. And no, I don't use this. That's just pretty. That just sits there and it looks. A big reason I got this is I was like, I want something bento-y, but I don't want a whole board around it. But I do enjoy it. It works. It serves its function. And I never really cared about the slider, and I do get asked about the slider a lot.
It's one of those things that when you got it, it was very frustrating and it was a horrible purchase. But then over time, it's gotten better.
Well, once it got working, I was like, okay, it works. It serves its function. And now I'm never going to sell it because I refuse to admit defeat on that.
I've never been so happy I was unable to afford something as when all the nano shit went down. I wanted a nano so bad. I almost sold shit to make the nano happen, and I didn't. I'm so glad I didn't because I would have been so frustrated.
Which shout out, I forgot his name. Macanova. Macanova like held my hand through getting this set up and sent me like 15 different QMK file bins just to get that up and running. So huge shout out to him. So let's see. Would you rather have a ton of friends or a friend that weighs a ton? Eric? Friend that weighs a ton?
Yeah, I'll pick that one. I couldn't live life without Chewy. I think it's safe to say at this point.
Quality over quantity. Plus, when you have too many friends, you have to juggle.
I don't know how to answer that question.
Well, this next question comes from Starstone. Mechs on Deck Apiary. Which is your worst sponsor partner and why is it Type Beast? Well, let me explain. All right. Type Beast expects me to fucking read. I have to fucking open up this email that just clogs up my email, and then I have to read. I need Typebeast to call me on the Discord call and read me his newsletter word for word and slowly so I can keep up and take notes. So that's why.
Okay, but how sick would it be if there was an audiobook format of the newsletter for Typebeast? Like get some
but
old English, like someone on Fiverr to read it and like with this like beautiful accent and just like very professional. That would be big brain.
Lang, where are you? Where's Lang when we need him? See it through any 4 favorite drink you can have 20 of every day. Water for me. That's my go-to is water.
Boba. I love
Boba.
boba.
I get really bad. Like if I have too much carbonated, I'll just sit there and like burp for like 10 hours straight. So, how long did it take you to grow out your sick mane? I don't know.
A couple of years for me, yeah.
Yeah, it's man.
How long for you, Osiris, in your sick mane?
Couple weeks, you know. It's pretty quick.
My hair's just. I've had long hair since 2010. So if there's your answer, it just. Sometimes I'll shear off 7 inches, and sometimes I won't cut it for 2 years. Like it just. I let it do. It's easier. Honestly, it's easier to maintain when it's just long. And I've looked the exact same from when I was 19 to now. I just have a lot darker circles under my eyes.
I feel that.
My eyes used to be blue. Let's see. That looks like it might be it. So guys, thank you for tuning in. Miss Apiary. Thank you. Always a pleasure. You're one of the few you and Odos are the 2 people that will hit me up randomly and just be like, wellness check.
Can I just say, like, there are a lot of people I love in this hobby, truly, but you guys and Alex are 2 of like my absolute faves. So sometime I feel like we need to get like all 4 of us just on the street together. Fingers crossed. Sometime.
That would be so much fun. I feel like we would go for like 2 hours and we wouldn't have like answered a single question from chat.
Maybe one. Maybe one of us would have answered one. Maybe
a single question, yeah.
But it'd be fun. It would be so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can do something for the holidays. Ooh, you know, it'd be cool. All right, here we go. Big brain. Ready? And I know Alex is Canadian and lives in Canada, so obviously be a little delayed. Do like the Friday after Thanksgiving, so on Black Friday, do like a Thanksgiving meal with a bunch of streamers. Because we already like the meal, right? You know, you and I have the 3 of us. We're used to having.
Very used to, yes. I might get the same pizza again.
It's like a Friendsgiving.
Friendsgiving, a streams giving.
We'll flesh this out. I like it.
Flesh this out. So, and Dixie wants in. It's coming. So guys, be ready. It'll be a cool. We'll do something cool that day.
But Apiary, what do you have coming up next? And shout yourself out, kind of thing. You know?
GMK Noir is currently live on Project Keyboard Oblotsky for the EU, ILUMKB for Asia. We have Desk Hero for Canada. We have Daily Clack for Australia. So wherever you are in the world, you can buy GMK Noir. It is live now until the 4th of November. And if you can't afford full GMK set, which I understand, but you want something more related, we do have desk pads for very cheap. We have Salvin Artisans. We have stuff that looks good on its own and not just with the set. So make sure you check it out, even if you're not digging the key set. I promise there's something for you. And that's live till the 4th. I think that's most of what we have up right now. I have some big streams coming up. Tomorrow I'm building a Rector 200. On Saturday, I'm building a Jane V2, the Carbon edition. And then we have a bunch more. Coming up after that, a bunch of prototype streams too. So make sure you're following me on my Twitch channel and stuff. Yay!
So, guys, this Saturday, once again, Satisfaction. I said it right that time. I sat there and I told myself, don't fuck it up. Satisfaction 75 being built by Mr. Osiris on Saturday, 2 p.m. It's going to be a very cool looking build. It's going to happen on launch day. Next week, no stream on Tuesday. We're going to probably be paying more. Go vote. Yeah, there it is. But probably be paying more attention to other things that are happening in the world than keyboards. So next Tuesday we'll be off, but Wednesday we'll be back with a guest that we will announce this weekend. Boom. There it is. And again, Apiary, thank you very, very much. We should throw it. I don't know if we've ever thrown it to MaxF Live.
I don't think we have, and if we have, it's been a while.
It's been a hot minute, so let's go hit up MaxF Live. Another keyboard streamer, really cool guy. So let's hit him up. What are you doing right after this, Apiary? Like let's dive deep in the world. Like what food are you immediately going to go grab?
Oh, not food. I don't have time for dinner. I'm actually doing more work. Day in the life of Apiary, working from 8 to 12. Woo.
What about you, Chewy? What are you doing right after this?
I'm probably gonna go stand outside for just enjoy the cold, get my eyes off of these lights, and then probably hang out and chat because I like talking to people. Yeah. I just need that 5 minutes of I'm not gonna say a word.
Yeah,
I feel you. After streams, I normally have to go veg. Yeah,
I'm probably just gonna go eat some food first. Probably I don't know what I'm gonna eat yet, and then go play some Overwatch until probably 2 a.m.
Boom. So raid message. Let's just keep it plain and simple. Let's hit him with the raid. No Overwatch for you. What's up, Top Clock? So guys, hit him with the raid. MaxF Live. Awesome guy. And Apiary, thank you again.
Anytime.
Bye, Switch Tester.